heartbreaking stuff, Stu. Ipswich Town looked like they got it done, didn't they? 1-0 up, 95th minute, and you turned to me before that corner. I'm going to out you here, and you told me that if this goes in, it will be like a dagger to the heart, and it was, wasn't it? It's not your fault.
Oh man, I'm still settling in for me, that one today, because seconds away from what would have been an utterly deserved massive 3 points here. We'd have come away floating on a cloud, just thinking the gap would have been down to 4 points, and Ipswich have beaten a team above them, having played really, really well in that second half, and it's snatched away. And the worst thing about it is that goal didn't feel like it was coming either, but there we go. Late corner, centre half, thumping header, and that was it.
It's gutting, isn't it? That second half was near perfection, I felt. That there's some talk about the wind and both teams having the better of the wind in the two halves, and Ipswich had it in their favour in the second, but I'm not really that bothered about the wind, if I'm honest. I thought Ipswich were brilliant. I don't think you can put that down to the wind. The goal was brilliant that they scored. Chaplin with a sublime ball with the outside of his foot. Perfect for Burns. Burns then a perfect cutback, and Selina a perfect finish into the bottom corner. And the scenes when that went in, we were right opposite. We were right in the press box, right opposite that away end. It was going off in there. He's the perfect man to score a goal like that. The showman who really whips people up and gets them going. And it looked like that was going to be the winner, but it's absolutely gutting, isn't it?
Absolute explosion of noise from I think 1,700 or so Ipswich Town fans there, because they'd been building towards that goal, as you say, in the second half. From the right at the very start of that second half, you could tell Ipswich were on the front foot. McKenna made his substitutions early, got Morsey on for Carroll, and he got Bon on for Piggott, and that made a difference. And it felt like that goal was coming. The goal was straight off the training pitch, and we're seeing these patterns of play that McKenna's been working on in terms of sharp 1-2s, little triangles, that ultimately gets generally Wes Burns in down the right hand side, and they cut the ball back, and Selina arrives from late to finish, and they could have had more from there. And I think that's McKenna's sort of main takeaway from this today is we should have then put the game to bed. Yes, if the second goal, if we'd have gone and got a second during that period when we were on top, then obviously what happens at the end doesn't happen.
Yeah, and that's particularly gutting as well, because they don't concede goals. We know that it's 1 goal in 9 games conceded going into this, and they don't look under real threat from set pieces either. They've dealt with them so well. I thought Cameron Burgess had a really good game today, as the whole defence did, but it's him who just loses that one step to McNally, which he kind of steps away from the situation, and McNally steps away from Burgess, and that gave him the run to put in. It's a really good header by the time he gets it. It's not one to maybe dig Burgess out about, but it's just really frustrating that a player who his biggest strength is doing that, and he had a really good game, and it just all combines for just a really tough feeling for everyone associated with Ipswich, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And instead of sort of going away thinking, yes, they finally beaten a team sort of in the top 6, 7 of the table, and they're closer, and it would have felt on, I think, big time if we'd have come away with the win today. Instead, you're thinking the games are just starting to run out, and the reality is they haven't beaten anyone in the top 7 all season, and then if you don't do that, you don't get in the playoffs, and that's the way it feels. They're just gonna fall short here. Is what it's feeling like, as these games, Portsmouth last weekend, this one today, are just slipping away. So long term, we're loving watching them play. There was a journalist here from a national newspaper said, "I'm jealous of you boys getting to watch that every week," and but that's next season. We were hoping it might happen this year, but if they can just add a few little bits and pieces, just the final touches in the final third, just add some more of those goals, and they'll be flying next year. But we wanted it to be this year.
We're talking about next year, aren't we? It's not mathematically over, but it feels that's why it's so deflating, isn't it? Like you said, it's because it would have felt on going into another really big game next weekend against Plymouth at home, another promotion. They're in fourth now, just like Oxford were going into this. So yeah, momentum's massive, isn't it? But the momentum they've got at the moment is drawing games when they need wins, and that's why after another deflating moment when it looks so positive, you feel like it's going to have to be next season. But you never know.